But speaking of histories and stuff that might be different for other people, take it away. Give us a history lesson.
Yeah, we got a rough one today. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while.
Just get it off your chest, bro.
But I haven't because we had all done pretty rough ones back to back, and I was like, I'll wait for a little bit. And then a couple other topics came up, plasmoids. And
see, the thing is, I need to find something to talk about to give a warning because I'm the only one who hasn't gone there now.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, you've
get with
before.
it.
There's plenty of things on the internet there, bud.
Yeah, Epstein files.
Plenty of things on the dark web.
True.
So we're going to talk about the Bosnian War today, but not just the war in specific, but we're going to talk about the war crimes that were committed there. And so the Balkans, it's a joke within history that, of course, the Balkans are at war again, right? Because it seems like they're constantly at war.
That's all they do, if you believe the narrative.
So the Balkans, for my American friends, is basically to the right of Italy, okay?
Where's Italy?
So Italy is in Australia.
Oh.
And it's south of Australia. But it's
Are they having floods too?
No, water runs north.
No, it's
but they're the down under, so first is
yeah.
No, Australia, you flush a toilet, it goes the other way.
Okay, so it's by the region it's Europe, obviously, but
obviously
it's around Austria, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, Greece. Those are the countries surrounding the Balkans, okay? And I was listening to a war podcast one day, and they decided to do a little bit of a history lesson about it because there's new stuff coming out about the war, so they were just doing an update, basically. And
what year was this?
So this was it started in 1992.
Okay. So pretty recent.
Pretty recent.
And it ended?
In 95.
Yeah, this is about the timeline that you'd start getting declassified stuff.
Yeah. So
30 years?
NATO got involved. The UN got involved.
As they do.
The U.S. itself got involved.
As they do.
Yes, as they do. Yeah, it was Bill Clinton at the time. But it largely had to do with the breakup of Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia was a country.
Yep.
It was a bunch of regions put together. They wanted to become a country together. But during the fall of the USSR, they said, okay, we want our independence also. And they were mostly doing it by ethnic background.
Really?
Within region, yeah. And so the Bosnian War, which took place from April 6, 92 to December 14th, 95, was a brutal and devastating conflict that occurred after the breakup of Yugoslavia. It was primarily fought between three main ethnic groups: the Bosniaks, which are the Bosnian Muslims.
That's honestly a cool name. The Bosniaks.
The Croats, and the Serbs.
Serbs is kind of lame.
Yeah.
Who lived in Bosnia. And
just the name, not the group. I don't know anything about the group.
But they lived in Bosnia and Herzegovina, is I think how it's pronounced. But the war was characterized by widespread aristocrats, including ethnic cleansing, massacres, and the siege of cities like Sarajevo. What in the heck? Sarajevo. There we go.
Okay.
Sarajevo.
I was going to say, I could try to help you, but I don't know where we're going.
I knew it. I was reading it at the house, and I knew how to pronounce it. I was just stupid. So this is the main area that we're going to focus on, is the siege of Sarajevo. It lasted just about the entire war. It got to the point where, like this was saying, it became an ethnic cleansing of the people. But again, all this stemmed from Yugoslavia wanting to become independent. And I'm not going to go into a big history lesson of all this because that would take way too long to give you all of the details. But the siege of Sarajevo was the capital of Bosnia. This is the country's name. It's a weird name, but it's the Bosnia Herzegovian. It's like two countries' names put together. But it was surrounded by Bosnian Serb forces for almost 4 years, and it became one of the longest sieges in modern history, with civilians subjected to constant bombardment and sniper attacks.
It sounds exactly like Ukraine right now.
Well, no, not no.
In a way where like the front is right there with people that are just trying to live their lives.
True. I mean, that's how most wars are, though. Most modern wars.
I think we're just fortunate that we've never been invaded.
Especially European wars, man.
Yeah.
European wars are rough because there's always mass casualties. But the point of the war for the Bosnian Serb forces was that they just wanted them to, they didn't want to take land. They wanted them to just completely surrender and give up the chance of being independent. So they didn't want to capture the city. They wanted to brutally make them submit. Well, they got the civilians involved. And they told the military that you're allowed to shoot anybody and everybody.
Oh, wow.
All civilians were on the board. And so the snipers said, okay. So they started shooting men, women, children, elderly, anybody that was in their sights.
Dude, you got to have some hate to do that.
Yes.
Yep.
So it was very brutal. And like I said, they didn't want to take over the city. They wanted to pummel them into submission. So they would just open fire randomly on the city with machine guns and just shoot buildings and everything and just completely massacre them. And the ethnic cleansing and the massacres, the war was marked by widespread ethnic cleansing with various groups targeting civilians of opposing ethnicities. The Bosnian Serb forces, led by figures like Ratko Mladic, were particularly notorious for committing atrocities. They literally lined them up and shot them. They separated the men and women, the men and boys from the women and girls. They separated them. They took the women and girls to prison, and then they killed the boys and men.
So, like, in the grand scheme of things, while this is going on, does the rest of the world know about this?
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And we just let that happen? That's so messed up.
Well, NATO forces started bombing the Bosnian Serb forces.
Okay.
And trying to end the war through diplomatic ways and so on and so forth. And it was a very rough time. And I've heard a lot of people criticize NATO for bombing over there. And I don't know a lot of history about it, but from reading just about the war itself between the three ethnic forces, it got rough. And it sounds like NATO was completely justified. Now, again, I don't know the exact history of it all.
Yeah. But the fact that they just came out and said, okay, we don't care, men, women, children, that's, to me, that's grounds for, if it's as black and white as that,
Yeah,
go ahead.
It is
bomb 'em.
black. Yeah, it is black and white.
That's insane.
And there was There's leaders, there was generals, there was political parties that were tried for war crimes and everything else after this.
Yeah.
And it was initially the international community, including the UN, that took a passive approach. In 92, the UN established safe areas in Bosnia, but they were largely ineffective in preventing attacks on civilians. However, the war escalated and reports...
How do safe areas work for this? Like, how do you go in and say, okay, if you're here...
Yeah, so what they would do is...
I think they would probably designate, like, if there's snipers, because sounds like that's the main thing, right?
For
shooting in, right?
Yeah, for Sarajevo.
Okay.
Yes.
Like, the only way to get a safe zone is, like, if you're in the middle of the city, where even then you could probably be...
Well, they didn't have a safe zone in Sarajevo.
No.
This was around the region. They had different cities that they would try to protect with UN forces.
Okay.
And
so, like, refuge cities, basically.
Yeah. And that's what that was about.
That's still crazy. Like, we got to get there.
Yeah.
Dude.
And so NATO started getting reports of atrocities and began to intervene in the mid-1990s, launching airstrikes against Bosnia Serb positions. And this, combined with diplomatic pressure, helped bring the warring parties to the negotiating table. So, the aftermath, I'm just going to give you just a little bit more history of it. The casualties of the war caused around 100,000 deaths, with civilians bearing the brunt of the violence, and around 2.2 million people were displaced, and many of whom became refugees. So it was a pretty large war, nothing compared to the Ukraine and Russia war that's going on right now. But for that little area, big war.
Yeah.
But what I mainly want to talk about is the siege of Sarajevo. This was particularly atrocious. What?
Atrocious.
Atrocious.
Atrocious. Atrocious.
But this was particularly bad because, like I said before, it was a siege. It was the capital.
Did they actually like conquer it, siege it, or did it fail?
Well, I guess it failed because by the end of the war, they still had it.
I guess.
So
I actually know basically nothing about this other than I've heard that it happened.
right.
So I don't know who won.
So
Nobody probably.
well, they did treaties and stuff like that, and
I mean, I bet the winners didn't feel like winners. It's more so.
But Bosnia and Herzegovina,
Herzegovian.
it's right beside Serbia and
Right beside
Croatia.
Herzegovian.
But they were able to gain a little bit more land for their independence in Croatia and so on and so forth. So it was a wild war if you look at it. There was 3 parties involved. 2 parties got together as allies, started fighting the third party, and then in the middle of it, the 2 allies broke up and started fighting each other. So it was a 3-way war at one point. Wild. But the siege of Sarajevo, this is mainly what I'm going to talk about. It lasted the entire war, 92 to 95. Since it was the capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina, they wanted to break the country into submission. So they established snipers' nests all around the city. They would launch artillery into there, random machine gun fire, and they cut off water. They cut off food. They cut off medical supplies. They cut off everything. And like I said, the Serbian forces gave the okay to shoot anybody and everybody. Now, this was global. This got global attention. The war got global attention, of course, just like anything else would. And according to eyewitnesses and the survivors, they said that they were able to see people walking around the edges of the city that weren't in military uniform. And instead, they were dressed differently, and they stuck out like a sore thumb. One of the eyewitnesses was a former Marine, U.S. Marine, that went there to volunteer as a firefighter for the city. And he witnessed this too. That rumors were going around that rich people, millionaires, billionaires, were going on these so-called Bosnian safaris, which was that they were paying Serbian forces to go out and be able to shoot people.
Oh, dude.
Just like it's more complicated than this, but let me say, just like a regular African safari, you go out, you pick the animal, there's a certain price for the head of that animal, and so you pay that price. You agree to the price on the truck while you're on the truck. You say, okay, that's fine. You shoot the animal, go back to the ranger station, you pay up, right? Well, they were doing the same thing. They were going out to these sniper nests where the guns, the scopes were already preset for the range. They didn't have to adjust for the drop or nothing. And they'll go out, lay down, and kill the first person that they saw. And it was cheaper for elderly, and it was more expensive for children. So you could pay, they don't know how much it was at this point because it's still only rumors. But there's enough eyewitnesses and enough testimonials to say that they kind of got an idea. And they speculate it's people from Italy, rich from Italy, from the U.S., and a few other countries. I think Russia, too, was involved. But it's not that far-fetched to think this. Because a couple years ago, I don't know if y'all remember or not, but there was a post that went viral that a Russian company was allowing people to pay to go into these oil tankers. And they would drive around the Horn of Africa, which is Somalia, and they would wait for pirates to come up to the ship. Well, these rich Russians would go over to the guns and start shooting at the Somalian pirates. And they kind of got away with it because people are allowed to do that. Companies are allowed to do that. Security is allowed to do that.
So they would just technically hire them for the day.
They would hire them for security.
Wow.
And they would get away. They would be getting away with it through that way. But, I mean, y'all can look that up, too. I forgot the exact terminology that they were using for it. It was like some kind of, like pirate cruise or something like that.
Dude, that's... How far gone do you have to be?
Well, that wasn't that long ago. That was only a few years ago that they were doing that.
Yeah.
And it's people that are it's basically like the high fence argument.
Yeah.
Right? High fence hunting argument where you'd walk in to a cage and you shoot deer, right? It's only for a bunch of rich people that don't have time to actually put in for it.
Dude, this reminds me so much of the story of the Purge movies.
Yeah.
Where like they basically find a way to have people just be targets and you go and hunt them for whatever reason you want to. That it's so messed up.
It's crazy. But there's also journalist accounts, too, that we're seeing this also. There was the mayor of the city that he was able to survive the siege, and he's even got some accounts of the same that the Marines saw. And that's kind of where they're getting this information from. And there was even a area called Sniper Alley, and it was one of the most infamous areas because if anybody poked their head out, they were going to get shot. Because it was just like several snipers in a nest waiting on them to pop their heads out.
Was there anybody who tried to fight back as far as like, well, they got snipers' nests, we're going to set up our snipers' nest?
Yeah. There was military forces in there.
Get me a billionaire.
Rebels in there that were fighting, but at the same time, they didn't have any medical supplies. They didn't have any food. They didn't have any water. So they were just strictly there in case they started to breach the city and go into the city. So, yeah, there was, skirmishes back and forth here and there. But most of the time, they were just keeping their heads down because they had an ungodly amount of snipers around the city. I mean, it was insane. I can't remember the exact death toll, but I do remember that I believe it was 1 in 5 children were killed in the city. And I think 2 out of 5 were at least shot and wounded.
We got to find bank records of something. Like, we got to find something before they die,
but
before the billionaires die.
Yeah, that was at the hands of soldiers, too.
Yeah.
And there was speculative only about 100 rich folks that joined this and paid to do this. I mean, one's too many, right? But when you think of the thousands of soldiers that was around there too, I mean, it's not a whole lot of people.
Like I don't know. It just seems like there's,
and the majority of the people that did take place in this would have been dead by now. I mean, if you're a millionaire, you're probably 50s, 60s, 40s. Which I know if somebody was in their 40s or 50s in the 90s, they're obviously they can obviously still be alive today. But there was even accounts of these millionaires bringing their own rifles because I mean, if you're a hunter, you like your own stuff. You're used to using your own stuff. But I mean, there's not just one account of this. And this isn't just a rumor. And the reason why this is coming out again is because there was an Italian journalist that was doing a documentary, and they are saying that they got some more information about it, and that they were going to release the documentary this year, I think. I could be wrong on that date, but I mean, is
it going to be in Italian?
More than likely.
Oh, I asked not as a joke, because like sometimes foreign films or documentaries will be made in English.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. They didn't say what it was.
Hopefully they subtitle it and we can watch it and give an update, or maybe it's nothing. Whatever.
I heard a lot of this from the Warographics podcast. They have a YouTube channel too. If you're interested in military news or military history, then that's a pretty good podcast to listen to. But yeah, they were saying that a lot of new stuff might be coming out through this documentary.
I hope so.
If I'm understanding it correctly.
I hope they get some of these guys. I hope they get all of these guys. I mean, that's crazy.
But it reminded me that there was also a serial killer in Alaska, Anchorage, Alaska. His name's Robert Hansen. You've heard of that name?
The Hansen guy?
Robert Hansen.
I think I've heard of him.
Sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
So he was he was a serial killer in Alaska, and he would kidnap most of the time women, and he would drive them out to the Alaskan bush and let them go, and he would hunt them down.
Dude, this is some sick stuff.
Yeah, he would hunt them down with a Ruger Mini 14.
Why you got to go and ruin that gun? That's a great gun.
I don't know guns, so I have no idea what that is.
It's a good gun.
Okay, so you know the Springfield, the classic World War II.
It's like a carbine wooden stock. If you watch Saving Private Ryan, you've seen it.
Yeah, like it's
I
like
guess I've seen it. Then.
You know the M1 Grand? You know the M1 Grand?
No.
The classic World War II.
I'll put it in the Discord.
Where you shoot, jing, 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 bling. The clip goes bling after it shoots all the shells.
No.
Okay. Well, anyway, it's like a mini version of that. That's why it's Mini 14.
I am the exact opposite of you guys when it comes to guns. other than like the right stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I do not care about guns. I don't.
So
I know nothing.
I wanna end on a little high note on this though. I know we were talking about a lot of death and, but where there's darkness, there's always light, right? So there was a guy that was known as the Ghost Camaro. He was a Danish former special forces soldier who took extraordinary personal risk to be able to drive food, water, basic humanitarian. What is up with me tonight?
Humanitarian.
I can't talk at all.
It's fine.
Humanitarian aid into the city. And how did he do that? Well, I'm glad you asked.
I didn't ask.
He bought a 1979 Chevy Camaro and modded this thing out. You talking about Mad Max style, okay? He literally put armor plating all around it, and he beefed up the engine, dude, like crazy. I can't say everything that he put in there, but he probably put in two twin turbos. That don't make sense. He put in twin turbos. He put in twin turbos and run flat tires, which means that, you know, the tires wouldn't pop. He had night vision gear. He put Kevlar panels all on top of it. And he had a ton of other modifications on this truck. He painted it black.
Were speakers good?
Probably.
But he drove so much, man. I think he put 70,000 miles on that car. And he didn't have a single gun, a single grenade, nothing. He said he relied on faith and God to be able to get him through all that.
What kind of music you think you'd listen to if that was you?
You gotta listen to some classic rock, dude. You got to.
That old Vietnam song that they're blasting. I don't want to say it.
Yeah. Fortunate Son.
Well,
favorable son.
Senator's son.
Yeah, I'd be rocking some 80s metal or 80s rock, whatever you want to say.
I'm sure he was shot at though, right?
Yeah, he was shot at.
I'd be playing the Pokemon theme song.
He was shot at for sure, but he drove. But he also earned the reputation as God's Rambo, which I really like that nickname. That's such a cool nickname. But I mean, yeah, he did all that 70,000 miles worth of going back and forth, which you think about that is an insane amount to be able to drive through a war zone.
His whole, I guess, back seat must have been a fuel tank.
Yeah.
To get to where he's going, get out of there again, dude.
Well, he had to have room for supplies too.
Yeah, I'd say like put it all the supplies in the trunk. Yeah. Back seat is
he had.
Fuel tank.
Did he smuggle anyone out?
He smuggled himself in.
They didn't say that.
I mean,
he should have. I mean, if he's going back and forth, unless he was just too worried about about the risk of
for doing that.
Yeah. Maybe he was just willing to risk his own life, not somebody else's. But I mean, I could have gone into a little bit more detail about it, but I didn't want to go too in depth.
That's a cool guy.
But
that's the kind of guy you want to hang out with.
Yeah. Well, he still has the Camaro today, and he drives it around every now and then.
He's still driving it into war zones.
Going into Ukraine right now.
Yeah. Well, he's old man now. But
dude, if I had a car and I was doing all that, I would keep that car forever.
You better believe it. That'd be my baby, son.
You bury me in that thing.
It honestly, if he dies, his family might keep it around for a while.
If he dies,
well,
when that guy just might not die.
When he dies, his family might keep it around for a while. His son or daughter might inherit it, but they might donate it to a museum at some point.
Yeah, if he gets to pass it on, I hope that they would put it back to the condition like before his first run.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like just make it like
mint,
like it was when he's like, okay, this is the plan. Let's do this. All right.
Yeah, he just got tired of sitting around and not doing anything, so he's like, you know what? I'm going for it.
What'd you do this weekend?
Just drove into a war zone, drove out
for a joyride.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to learn more about the Bosnian War, I mean, it gets rough. I mean, it's so, just like most wars, but it's so complicated.
How many years did you say that it went on?
92 to 95.
About 3.5.
Dude, 3 years of being under siege. That's
constant.
Yeah.
Constant gunfire.
At some point, some of these people, I'm sure, because that just breaks your mental.
Yeah, I don't know how you live.
Like, at some point, do you just wish that you die?
Like,
I wish I was taken. My whole family's been taken, or all my friends have been taken. Can't get out.
Like, yeah, how do you do anything? You can't go to work, so you don't have any money. You don't have food.
No.
You don't have water.
There was no work there. They were just trying to survive.
So, like, but
you couldn't buy anything. I mean, you were literally just trying to survive.
You're just looting off of probably people that used to live next door that are passed away now. You're just looting through their stuff, trying to get some food or water. That's insane.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah, it was archaic.
Yeah, your mental's shocked.
Yeah, and they did all kinds of atrocities too that I didn't even get into, and I'm not going to. But, I mean, the fact that you have to get to a state of, I have so much money, I've literally bought everything I could possibly own. I've gone on all these expeditions. I've gone on all these hunts. You know what? Yeah, let me go kill somebody.
Yeah, I haven't experienced the wonder of taking a life. That's like a power trip move. It's not even about money. It's just like that's the kind of people who, I want power and I've had power and it doesn't do it for me anymore. I need to escalate it higher. What can be more exhilarating?
It's an addict.
That's what's so scary about, like, you get enough of these people and eventually they run a country. You end up with things like the movies, The Purge and stuff where it's like we hunt people for sport now.
Or the Hunger Games.
Yeah, well.
They're already at the Hunger Games with their outfits.
Get it right. It's the Patriot Games, boy.
Patriot Games.
It's so stupid.